Jai Hind students. Hope you all are fit and fine at home. So we had already started this chapter in history, civilizing the native, educating the nation. And in the first module, I hope you all remember that we had discussed about Orientalists, who were people who were fond of the Indian culture and heritage, and they wanted all means to promote it. Still, there were few Britishers who did not or openly criticize the Orientalists. Let us see who were they and what was their thought. So, the topic is grave errors of the past. And from the early 19th century, there were many British officials who began to criticize the version of the Orientalist. And they had to say that the knowledge of the East was full of errors, lacked a scientific thought, it was light-hearted and not so serious. They even had to say that it was wrong on the part of the British to spend so much of money and effort for encouraging the study of Arabic and Sanskrit language. So one person who was an advocate of this was James Mill, and he openly attacked the Orientalist, and he had to say that the aim of education should be to teach what was useful and practical, and the Indians should be familiar with the scientific and the technical advances which the West had made, rather than studying poetry and literature. So he was born in Scotland, and he was also the author of History of British India, and he had to say that people of India should be studying the English literature, and then only they would be coming in terms with the modern advancement. The next person is Macaulay, and he also openly attacked the Orientalist. He was quite outspoken, and he had to say that India was an uncivilized country which needed to be civilized, and what could change that? It was the introduction of English and Western concept. He had to say that Eastern knowledge was nothing compared to the English education, and he also had to say that British government in India should stop spending money on the spread of Eastern education, and everybody should teach and understand English. He had to say that the Indians should be knowing that the literature of the West was one of the finest, and they should be learning science and philosophy. So, teaching of English would thus civilize the people and would change their taste and the values. After this, the English Education Act was introduced in India, and the decision was to make English the medium of instruction for higher education and to stop the promotion of Oriental institutions like the Calcutta Madrasa and the Banaras Sanskrit College. The next topic is education for commerce, and in this, in 1884, we understand that the Court of Directors and the East India Company in London, they sent an educational dispatch to the Governor General of India. Now, it was issued by Charles Wood, the President of the Board of Control, which came to be also known as the Wood's dispatch after his name. Outlining the education policy that was to be allowed in India, it emphasized once again the practical benefits of European learning as opposed to the Oriental knowledge. One of the practical uses of dispatch pointed was economic. So, European learning, it said, would enable the Indians to recognize the advantages that flow from the expansion of trade and commerce, and make them see the importance of developing the resources of the country. Now, this Charles Wood was born in England, and he was opposed to the idea of promoting Orientals or the local Indian languages in India. Then, if we talk about it, the Wood's dispatch, we will understand that the European way of life, if introduced in India, would change the desires and the taste of Indians, and it would also develop a demand for the British goods. Indians would start to appreciate, and they would like to buy things which was produced in India. And he also had to argue that European learning would improve the moral character of the Indians. It would make them honest, truthful, and thus it will supply the company with civil servants, that is from India, who could be trusted and depended upon. The literature of the East was not good. It was full of errors, and that would not, and it could not instill a sense of duty and commitment in the Indians. So he had to say that if European learning was introduced, people would be becoming more truthful and honest. After this, several measures were introduced by the government or the British government. Education departments of the government were set up to extend control over the matters regarding education. Then a system of university education was introduced. Then schools and colleges had started to open. The next topic is the demand for moral education. So, the argument for practical education was strongly criticized by the Christian missionaries in India in the 19th century, and the missionaries had felt that the education should attempt to or it should be to improve through Christian education. Until 1830, the East India Company was opposed to missionary activities in India because it feared that the missionary activities would react, or the people would provoke or ignite reaction amongst the local population, and this would make the people, Indian people, suspicious of the British controlled territories. Now, slowly, the missionaries started to set up schools. They started setting up a printed press, which was in 1800, and a college which set up in 1818. Then missionary schools by the 19th century were set up all over India. So this is in the second module we will be dealing with the doubts in the live class. Till then, Jai Hind.